FM.
You have that type of... Life with short arms does have its advantages. Certainly when the tab is dropped off in front of you at the bar or table, right? But not if you want to be a tackle. Not in this league. Not in the NFL. Trent Baalke was still here. Who knows what would be going on with him? He'd be like a fish out of water. Who do I trust? Who do I believe? 32 and 5/8 at the Combine, 33 at the LSU Pro Day. Let's go to the tape. Who do we believe? A lot of rumors are out there about perhaps a mistake made in Indy, the longer tape measurer in Baton Rouge. I get the feeling that around here now, it doesn't really matter. I think James Gladstone is a guy who instead is going to trust the tape. And that is exactly what Will Campbell said today. As a matter of fact, I almost never do this. Let's play it for you right now. For those of you who do not know who I am talking about, Will Campbell is expected to be the first offensive lineman selected. And I would not dismiss Jacksonville at number 5. It seems as though it's defense, Mason Graham. We've had this latest wave for about a week and some change with Travis Hunter, right? And I think most of you out there, I know most of you because I have conversations with you nightly, want defense, defense, defense. Of course, my opinion has always been offense. The Jaguars added 10 players during free agency, 4 of which are offensive linemen, but we still don't know. What is their thought process on Walker Little? What is it right now on Anton Harrison, right? I mean, I asked a week ago. I threw it out. Would you be shocked if all of a sudden you heard that Anton Harrison was getting an opportunity at left tackle? What was it, 22 of 23 of his starts in college were at left tackle? The former organization, let's face it, outside of Trevor Lawrence, they always took a guy and put him somewhere else, right? Because they were the smartest freaking people in the room. Don't draft the guy and play him there. No. Make Trayvon Walker an outside linebacker. Work with Jalen Ramsey at free safety. Who knows what they did with Miles Jack? Look at what they tried, Caleb on Chase on. Josh Hines Allen. Same thing with Anton. Hey, all the guy does is play left. We've got Cam Robinson as our left tackle. Let's make him a right tackle. So we don't know for sure. And I think this is where Baselli really comes in. I don't think that Baselli has influence over Gladstone when it comes to making the pick, okay? This should be the expertise of the 34-year-old who has 9 years' worth of experience doing it. And he did it 2 ways. He did it by punching in this, difference makers and giving up everything to get it. He gave up Goff, he got Stafford. He gave picks here, he got Ramsey. Went out and got Von Miller. You saw they won the Super Bowl. Then they changed things up after the fact. And all of a sudden, draft picks were nothing at one point in L.A. All of a sudden, they became very important. And you've seen some of the draft selections that they've made the last several years. So I really do get the feeling that this is Gladstone's thought. It's his decision. But Baselli, I have to believe, has an enormous opinion and his knowledge, especially with the offensive line, not only with what they've done in free agency and what they may do in the NFL draft, but also his opinion on those who return, including Walker Little. So it just makes you wonder. I would never bet on Anton Harrison being a left tackle, but he regressed last year as a right tackle. So we don't know. Is it Walker Little? That'd be the betting favorite. Is it Anton Harrison? Could it be a guy like Will Campbell? The feeling that we have is that Gladstone is going to check the tape. He is going to be more of a general manager based on what they've done in their career on Saturday, not the way that they measured. And that was the former regime. 2 nights ago, I had Mark Ross on. He spent 11 years in the NFL, New York and Philadelphia, part of 2 Super Bowl teams in Gotham. And I thought I was interviewing myself. It was one of the most excited interviews I've ever done because he sounded exactly, well, I hate to say it, like me. He was yelling, it's time, enough excuses for Trevor Lawrence. Find out what you have here in your quarterback. Get another wide receiver. Beef up that offensive line. Forget about the defense. The defense will come. You got to find out right now if you have the right quarterback. Will Campbell today was pretty outspoken. Let's go to this clip. He met with the media after LSU's pro day.
You as a prospect?
For 2 years, nobody had any measurements on me, and nobody said anything about my play. So now all of a sudden, an arm length decides if I'm a good player or not. I think it's BS. But, any decision makers in the NFL, they don't really care. It's all, people who don't coach, and they don't coach for a reason.
A little bit of nasty there. And, oh, boy, is it lacking. Oh, boy, is that lacking. I mean, how about a little bit of attitude? How about a little bit of, I'm the best at what I do, and here's why? Is that cocky by Will Campbell? Hell yeah. Do I love it? Absolutely. The offensive line around here has been as soft as puppy poo. It really has. It's been embarrassing. It should be the identity of this football team. There should be so much pride with that offensive line that you want to protect, quote unquote, the generational franchise-changing quarterback. They've done squat in 4 years. I'm fully on the table. Give me Travis Hunter. But if you can't get him, if he's gone, if he goes to New England or he goes to, we saw what happened yesterday with New York. But for the record, I still don't think that drastically changes things. That's a 1-year deal for Wilson. You have Jameis there for 2 years. It would not shock me if they went back to the well if Cleveland doesn't pick Sanders and the New York Giants drafted him. That this is a Band-Aid with Russell Wilson. I love the attitude here with Will Campbell. And Jacksonville needs attitude at that offensive line. I can't remember the last guy who came through here who had one. And if you're going to tell me Cam Robinson had a great one, then fine. Okay, I'll listen to you, but I'm also going to shake my head. Nah, he was very spotty. Sheriff is gone. Sheriff was the ultimate cliche. He was the ultimate canned answer. In the business, you have columnists, you have writers that can put together their story, and you can do the same thing about us. We'll do the same show. For instance, when the schedule comes out, right? You can be a fan and you can say, oh, guess what's coming up tonight? The schedule was released. Here's a brilliant idea. They're going to go through all 17 games and put a W and an L next to it. We all do it, right? I mean, you have to. It's just part of the way things are. Columnists and writers will have their stories. They'll put everything together. And then, you got to fill in the final box score. You got to fill in the final score and passing yardage and the statistics and all that. But you can write things. You knew what you were getting out of Brandon Sheriff before you put the microphone in front of his lips. He was going to tell you the same damn thing every single time. And it was player speak. It was canned. And frankly, it was awful. I miss the days of attitude around here. I miss the days of Wydell. I miss the days of Cersei. I miss the days of DeMarco. I miss the days of Baselli. I miss the days of Ben Coleman. I miss the days of Rich Tilsky. I miss when this offensive line said, we're the leaders of the team. And here comes the media. We're not going to go drift away into the training room. They're going to answer every question. And you know what? They protected Mark Brunell. And credit Tom Coughlin. He had a great running attack. He had Nate Means. He had James Stewart. He got Fred Taylor. Tavian Banks got hurt. That was a big blow. I thought he absolutely could have helped out. But they were able to run it. I mean, look back through history. Mark Brunell never threw more than 20 touchdown passes in a year. It's pretty frightening. Really impressed here today with Will Campbell. Want you to comment on that. We are on the eve of Major League Baseball and its start. Of course, they've screwed it up. First game tomorrow is of an interleague variety. That's just classic baseball. They don't know what's going on anymore. You know, they started out in Tokyo with the Japan series, for those who aren't even aware of this. And I would assume that some of you, the Cubs already down 0-2, the Dodgers up 2-0. And they did it without Freddie Freeman, who's got a ribs problem. And they did it without Mookie Betts, who's got a brutal stomach virus. He's typically 170, 175. He's down to like 155 pounds. They don't know what's wrong with Mookie Betts. But we're starting Major League Baseball tomorrow. And tomorrow's supposed to be such a great day of hope, really for every team, at least early on. Opening day, man, it used to mean everything. Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati, first pitch. Now, again, we have an interleague game. Milwaukee, formerly the American League, right? Remember Gorman Thomas and Robin Yount and Paul Molitor and Cecil Cooper and Gentle Ben Ogilvy and Ted Simmons and Dodd Money and Sal Bando. And the Brewers were a team that bashed the living snot out of the baseball, but you'd look up and you'd see they end up losing games 9-8. It begins tomorrow. My buddy's John Nagowski. He's written 8 books. The latest that he put together is absolutely outstanding if you are a baseball fan. I can't believe the research that he has put into this book. And you can go back to Walter Johnson. You can go back to Satchel Paige. You can go back to Cy Young. You can go back to the Founding Fathers and what they did against Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb. And it takes you up through recent histories, talking about the best combination 3-4 hitters in Major League Baseball. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, but also Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, who had success against the best of all time. Don Drysdale, never got to see him pitch. I'm told he was a bad, bad man. And he put one right off your chin if you looked at him wrong. Hank Aaron, 17 home runs off of Don Drysdale. Read that the other day. Just blew me away. It's called Diamond Duels. The cover has Greg Maddux against Tony Gwynn. There's a big chapter on Gwynn, Boggs, Carew, and Brett, which is just fascinating. And I know there are baseball fans born and raised here. I also know that there are baseball fans who have come from other parts of the country who still love this game. I don't do a lot of books. I read a ton of them, but I don't do a lot of interviews. Okay? I don't bring authors on. I just, I'm not sure why I don't as much anymore, but this one here with John Nagowski is absolutely can't miss. And if you are a baseball fan, I mean, you have to get it. Let me put it up for those watching on social media tonight. We'll have John tell us where it's available, but I'm telling you, I haven't read a sports book in a while. I've been reading a ton of fiction and some true crime, and this read on the USS, Indianapolis, which went down, and, how the Sharks ate, 80 to 100 men, as you talk about just a massive screw-up. They were there for 4 days, and no one even knew that the ship sunk. It was such a secret mission, one that was highly criticized, and a lot of people really lost their jobs. Quite a few ended up committing suicide. It became such a brutal life after the largest shark attack, and, of course, they delivered the bomb. Right? It was a secret mission. They didn't even know. But they delivered the bomb, and they did that successfully. And that story kind of was buried because the atomic bomb went off, and obviously it ended the war. But I just finished that book. I haven't read a sports book in a while until I started reading this one. And Diamond Duels is absolutely spectacular. I wouldn't pump it up if I didn't think you out there would enjoy it. So here's what we're going to do. And I can already feel you. I do. I got to look at Joel right? Like a Randy Johnson fastball just went right underneath my chin. I can feel it right now. It sounds a little bit like this. Ballou, don't talk baseball. Talk football. This is a one-horse town. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Talk football. I'm going to get to it. Started with Will Campbell. We got a lot of football we're going to get to tonight, and that includes our good friend John Oehser. That'll be coming up at 7 o'clock. But we absolutely, positively have to preview this book on the eve of Major League Baseball right here back in the States. I think you'll love it. Opening comments are brought to you by the good folks over at Schmunez Vision. How about allergies? That's something I never talk about. I mean, this pollen's all over the place, right? Is it driving you crazy? Are you sneezing? Are your eyes itching? Do you think there's a problem? This really can be an issue for those of you who work outside. We have a huge blue-collar listening audience, and we love all of you. But if you're outside landscaping, if you're outside, you're roofing, you're outside doing anything, you will be extra bothered by this than if you're tied up in the office all day. If you're noticing your eyes and the itch and the redness and everything else, why wait? Set up an appointment today at Schmunez Vision. They are experts in this particular field as well. Bit of advice, do not sleep in your contacts, especially if your eyes are aggravating you. It is the absolute worst thing that you can do. So go on in, visit Schmunez Vision. So many options for you outside of the problem that would be an allergy. You could be a candidate for laser eye surgery, 2020 for the rest of your life. Certainly, if there are problems that are more significant, like refractive surgery or cataract surgery, you're talking about well more than 30 years worth of experience with Dr. Neil Schmunez, Dr. Catherine Schmunez, and Dr. John Hunt. I'm telling you, they're the best around. Make an appointment today. Go to Schmunez Vision online. Also go to Instagram. You can get all the testimonials there at Schmunez Vision. So we're jam-packed right here on this Monday. How about Alex Lodis last night? How cool was that? The walk-off grand slam for the local kid in the cycle. So a little bit of baseball on a Tuesday night in Duval. Let's do some as well on a Wednesday. I think you're going to be just blown away by the research, the greatest baseball players of all time and what they did against one another. Let's get into this with John Nagowski, and then we'll make our way back to Jaguars football during a Wednesday edition of Into the Night.
Life is a contact sport. Get in the game with 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Frank Frangie here. Experience professional grade at Nimnik Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% APR financing. Yes, 0%. You can't find deals like this anywhere else in Jacksonville. Shop 24/7 online at Nimnik Buick GMC or visit a showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple build. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
With so many competitive pest services in town, you might wonder why Kingfish Pest Control's business is booming while similar companies seem to be struggling. It all comes down to service, affordability, and effectiveness. Kingfish Pest Control is a local family-owned company who delivers on their promises to effectively control pests like ants, spiders, roaches, termites, mosquitoes, and more. Your home is their priority, so call today and discover why your neighbors and your buddy Hayes Car Lion trust Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, World Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hacker here, thinking I did something spectacular, dropping 123 pounds. But then Steve pops in and dropped a whopping 150 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss.
I got started because I was sick and tired of just being sick and tired all the time. Wanted more from life, and I knew that at my size, I wasn't being who I could be, who I want to be for not only myself, but for my wife. And I was like, something has got to change, and it's got to start soon. I mean, the program is so easy. Everything is really written down for you on your first day. Having someone there to help you and also keep you accountable, just having that someone to talk to, and even the fact that Awaken 180 offers free maintenance for life is amazing because keeping the weight off is a lifetime commitment.
A lifetime commitment is what you'll receive with Awaken 180. 25 pounds like Dempsey, 40 pounds like Matt Hayes, or maybe it's over 100 pounds like Steve and me. Awaken 180 will get you there online at awaken180weightloss.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. Johns Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, my buddy John Nagowski is 30 seconds away. You still have an opportunity to join me, Marcus Stroud, Aaron Beasley, Rashard Lawrence, Cleo Lemon, Demetrius McCrae. It is the Lone Warrior Foundation 2025 Champions of Hope Charity Golf Challenge. It'll be this Monday, March 31st at Marsh Landing, 9 a.m. shotgun. Okay, we're going to support single-parent families in their fight against cancer. Wait till you see these prizes that you can win, but more importantly, we're going to bring meaningful hope and support to the lives of the families affected. Go to Lone Warrior Foundation. That's lonewarriorfoundation.com. You can still sign up. You have until Friday at 3 o'clock. And there's still an opportunity for you to join a foursome, be an individual player. If you're a business owner, you want to sponsor a hole that's still there for you, go to LoneWarriorFoundation.com. All right, let's bring in John Nagowski. He has written 8 books as an author, but this is by far, in my opinion, his best work to date. And every time I turn the page, I'm more blown away by what he has put in this. It is Diamond Duels, baseball's greatest matchups. Let me put it up here to the camera for those of you watching us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. You can see it's a beautiful book with Greg Maddux facing Tony Gwynn. Let's go to God's country, Tallahassee, Florida. Author John Nagowski with Rick Ballou. John, always a pleasure.
Same here, Rick. It's always fun to talk to you. We've been doing this for a long time, so it's great to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, decades ago, we did the Hall of Fame show, and that was always a lot of fun. That's been watered down a little bit over the years, but I think every Hall of Fame has. But I can't get over this piece here. First of all, the research. How many years did it take you to compile all of these numbers going back historically speaking?
Well, it wasn't that many years, really. What happened was John, my son John, who's a ball player, made it to the majors with the Cardinals and Pirates.
Right.
He was playing it down in the Dominican. His pitching coach was Phil Regan.
Okay.
You know, John's a baseman, but they were going to play golf. So I thought, well, geez, be a good dad. Look some stuff up about Phil Regan, who was called the Vulture. Remember, he was 14-1 in 1966 for the Dodgers. And so I looked up some things about him, and I found this site called StatHead, which I didn't really know about. And so I just started poking around, and I saw Stan Musial had 356 lifetime at-bats against Warren Spahn. And, you know, Rick, I was a sports writer for 25 years. I've read more baseball books than I can think of. Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking, well, you know, let me see what else is here. And then I looked up Whitey Ford. I always wondered why he only won 236 games playing for the Yankees, who were so much better than everybody else. They were in the World Series every year. And, you know, come to find out, he started 73 lifetime games against the White Sox, only 42 against the Boston Red Sox. They were arch rivals.
Mm-hmm.
And also that he never pitched a seventh game. He never pitched the deciding game of a World Series other than, you know, his rookie year, 1950.
Now, is that Casey Stengel? Did Casey Stengel not believe in him in the big game?
Yeah. Well, you know, part of it was he had a 6.16 ERA in Fenway Park. So, you know, they didn't pay super close attention to statistics back then. But I think he knew that, you know, a left-hander coming into Fenway Park, that can be challenging. And so he just kind of steered away from that. And when you think that they played 22 games against each other, Rick, you know, you've been up in Boston. You know what that's like. Here come the Yankees for a weekend series, and Whitey's not pitching.
Right.
I mean, that's surprising.
Shocking. Nolan Ryan, it says right here in the introduction, the most home runs all time off of Nolan Ryan was Will Clark.
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah.
Mississippi State man.
Yep, Mississippi State man, played with Rafael Palmeiro. Okay, you know what I love the big train here, because you dive into it very early, and, you know, when you go to Mount Rushmore, Babe Ruth you start with, but you don't go too far until you get to Ty Cobb. Cy Young was one. Christy Mathewson was a one, but certainly Walter Johnson was one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and certainly in that era. Both Cobb and Ruth had success against him.
They did, but a lot of that was because Walter Johnson was old. He had thrown so many innings, and he was kind of winding down his career. And so much of the stuff, you know, Ty Cobb made a big deal how well he hit against him. He was 11-15 one year and 7-12 for the next year. Well, those were Johnson's last 2 years. So otherwise, he hit just 256 against the guy. That's no big deal.
All right.
And, you know, Ruth was more or less the same thing. You know, when he was young, I mean, there's a reason the guy had, 110 shutouts. You know, he was just about unhittable. But, you know, these guys caught him sort of at the end of the run, and that's why their numbers are where they are. But I think what I tried to do was, as you know, Rick, you know, you're a great baseball guy. You have a lot of knowledge of the game. You know the cast, you know, and I knew the cast, but I didn't know the particulars. You know, to me, it was darn interesting that, you know, Hank Aaron was 1 for 23 against Don Drysdale. Drysdale knocked him down a bunch of times, never actually had a hit by pitch against him. But Aaron ended up hitting 17 home runs off.
Amazing.
So he figured it out.
Yeah.
And these kind of details were interesting. Willie Stargell against Sandy Koufax, 2 for 23, 0.87. I mean,
Wow.
you don't think about that with Willie Stargell, and Hank Aaron hit Koufax, 362, 7 home runs. Ken Musial hit Koufax, 342. So these kinds of things, to me, they were just fascinating. Frank Thomas against Pedro Martinez, 0.83.
Really?
2 for 24 with 11 strikeouts. And
Yeah.
you know who did Pedro?
Who?
Greg Jeffries. Do you remember Greg Jeffries?
Absolutely. Second baseman for the Mets and Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hit 469 against Pedro.
Wow.
15 hits and 32 at bat. Amazing.
That is insane. Diamond Rules
So
is the
stuff
book.
like this, it just was fun. I know you love the game and you know a lot about the game, and that's the reason I wrote it. Is I just thought, people know these players, but they don't know these specifics. And this was so much fun to write, Rick. I mean, it was a surprise pretty much on every day. It really was.
It's called Diamond Duels. It's baseball's greatest matchups. It's by John Nagowski, and it's just absolutely filled with information that I never had a clue towards. By the way, John, where's the best way for people to go to get the book? I'm going to put it up here again on the screen for the folks to see. Where should they go to get it?
Well, I should be in just about every bookstore, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, places like that. The initial distribution has been pretty good, so it's been around. I talked with some friends up in Nashua, New Hampshire, where I'm originally from, and they had it in the bookstores there. If they do not, they certainly can order it for you, or, of course, it's available on Amazon, just like everything else. And all my other books are available on Amazon. So, and I hope to be able to get out and hit some bookstores, maybe over in Jacksonville and around, the area, and talk about the book a little bit, do a little presentation. It's just so much fun. And I think if you're a baseball fan like you are, I think you'll really enjoy it.
I love your chapter on Carew, Boggs, Gwynn, and Brett, because I think over a period of 20 to 25 years, the batting titles that they won, and they were considered the best hitters. Did anything blow you away, good or bad, in your research there?
Yes, it did. A guy named Frank DePino, who I barely remember. He pitched for the Astros. I think he pitched for the Cardinals, a few teams. Tony Gwynn couldn't hit him. He was 1 for 20 against the guy.
Really?
Rod Carew, Louisiana Lightning, was too much for him.
Ron
he was
Guidry.
4 for 34, 118 against him.
A lefty
George
against a
Brett.
lefty. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. George Brett against Mike Messina.
Ooh.
Couldn't hit him. 3 for 24, 125. So, I mean, those were surprising to me. And Wade Boggs, of course, fabulous hitter. One guy he couldn't hit was Matt Young. You remember him?
Former Red Sox.
Yep.
And he went to Seattle and a couple of other places. I remember Matt Young. He was another lefty, I believe.
Yep. 2 for 25 against him. 080.
Yeah. Another part in here is Albert Pujols, 703 home runs. 154 of those were in the first inning.
I know.
I mean, we know that A-Rod broke Gehrig's record for the most grand slams, but you chronicle 3-run homers, the most ever,
Right.
2-run homers, and solo shots. And Pujols hit a ton of solo shots, including in the first inning. Barry Bonds hit the most solo shots in the history of the game.
Barry Bonds hit 59% of his home runs. 450 of the 762 were solo shots. That tells you just how feared that guy was.
Mm-hmm.
Ruth, by comparison, 331 of his home runs were solo shots, 46%, which was the same as Ted. Ted Williams, 240 of Ted's 521, again, 46%.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, finding out that Joe DiMaggio twice led the league in errors.
Mm-hmm.
And his career, I did a long chapter comparing Ted and Joe. And Williams is just so far ahead of DiMaggio in WAR.
I couldn't believe that when I read it. I mean, it's somewhat of a new stat, WAR. When you and I began covering this, we never and you take away the 5 years he lost, defending our country.
Oh, exactly. And the other thing, Rick, which I think is important to note, is just how powerful the New York media was. I mean, Ted Williams won 2 Triple Crowns and lost the MVP both times. Once to DiMaggio, who was, a terrific player. Another time to Joe Gordon, who had an uncharacteristically terrific season. But I think on the second one, a New York Yankee reliever named Joe Page, who almost nobody knows about, he got 7 first-place votes in the MVP voting. Ted Williams got 3. Something's wrong with that picture.
Well, he didn't have any friends in the Boston media. He certainly didn't have any in the New York media. And the long form you did on DiMaggio and Williams wins just blew him away as far as the numbers, except for when you got the World Series and you saw 9 by DiMaggio.
Yeah, he just got it once and didn't do much, unfortunately. Neither did Musial on that series, too. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. It was one of those things. And reading the New York Times columnist, Arthur Daly, writing about Ted Williams, I mean, he got a fair shake. And it just makes you wonder, if Ted had gotten a fair shake from the Boston media, how things might have been very different for him. Certainly MVP voting and all that stuff.
We got a minute left here, John. We got a ton of Braves fans in town. I know you gave us the one statistic on Aaron. He started 1 of 23 against Drysdale. Then he ended up hitting 17 home runs against him. I, in my opinion, I still believe Hank Aaron is the most underrated baseball player in the history of the game. If you walk into a bar and say, name the 5 best baseball players of all time, you may not get Hank Aaron, which is crazy. What else did you learn about hammering Hank as you put together this book?
The thing that was interesting about Aaron was he was just so consistent. You looked at what I would do with a player was I would look at all the different pitchers that he faced and what his numbers were, against this guy, against that guy. And Aaron was just, so consistent. There were some players, like Willie Mays, he struggled with Sandy Koufax, or he struggled with this pitcher or that pitcher. And Aaron pretty much was consistent just about against everybody. And, he didn't strike out a whole bunch. He struggled a little bit against Bob Gibson, 215, like a lot of guys did. He struggled a little bit with Seaver, 205, but he did hit 4 home runs off him. But generally speaking, he was just such a steady guy. And, the other thing that was odd about Hank Aaron, Rick, was when I was researching about the number 3 and 4 batters, he batted cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Matthews hit 3rd.
Right.
Which surprised me because Matthews probably hit, 250, 260 lifetime, had a lot of power. But you would think Aaron was a lifetime, I think, 305 hitter. You would think he'd be the guy hitting 3rd. But sometimes baseball surprises you. That's what this book is all about.
Hey, real quick, who a prominent player, who got the Bob Gibson?
Not too many guys. Not too many guys did. Let me take a quick look.
Because Gibson, if I could see one guy pitch a game, he was before my time. I would have loved, and obviously they lowered the mound because of Bob Gibson. I would have loved to have seen Bob Gibson in the late 60s pitch.
Yeah, he did give up some home runs that tremendous season, that 112 earned run average. He did give up a few home runs, but he threw almost complete games almost every time out. The best one that I found just off the top of my head here was Bobby Bonds.
Okay.
Who hit 240 against them, hit 4 homers.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Robinson had 4 homers off him, but only hit 229.
Yeah.
He was a tough, as you know, he was one tough pitcher. He took it out on our old Red Sox in the 67 series, I remember.
There's no doubt. Besting Jim Lomborg, and then the year after faced the Detroit Tigers in 1968. Let's put the book up on the screen again. It is a can't-miss for true baseball fans. You will be blown away. You talk about a page-turner. It's called Diamond Duels, Baseball's Greatest Matchups. The author is John Nagowski. Once again, John, please tell our listeners the best way to pick up your brand new book.
I think it's available at pretty much any bookstore you go in, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. If they don't have it, they certainly can order it for you, or of course it's available on Amazon as well. And so far the reviews have been really good. I've got some really nice response. Baseball America did a nice little piece on it the other day, and I'm just excited. I mean, I love the game. This is about the game when it was a game, Rick, not like what we're seeing now with strikeouts and home runs and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
These are the guys you and I watched growing up, and they're the guys that, I think have some great stories to tell. Pedro in the 99 All-Star game at Fenway. I mean, that was fun to write that one, boy, I'll tell you.
What did he face? 5 Hall of Famers, and he struck them all out, I believe?
Yeah, he was just so on. I mean, I think it was in that season, he only gave up 9 home runs that season. He pitched like 240-something innings and had 313 strikeouts or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and that's in the middle of the steroid era, too. We got to remember.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. John, let's do this again as we roll into the middle of the summer. Wish you the very best as far as success with this book. I got to tell you, I've read all your stuff. I need to read a couple of your Bob Dylan pieces, but I've read all your baseball books, and by far, this is the one that I've enjoyed the most.
Oh, that's great, Rick, and thank you so much. It's such a great time. We always have a good time. Nobody brings more energy to the air than you do, my friend.
Appreciate it, John. We'll catch up soon. Thank you again for your time.
You betcha.
There he goes, John Nagowski. The book is Diamond Duels, Baseball's Greatest Matchups. You can get it just about anywhere. Trust me when I tell you, this book is outstanding for baseball fans. We got much more to do, including John Oehser, who is 15 minutes away, the latest on the Jaguars, right here on a Wednesday edition of Into the Night.
There's a certain romance to radio play-by-play.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
We've all been waiting for it, and now March is finally here. Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. The only way to make the most of March is to feed the frenzy. Check out all the lines, the tournament's opening rounds, and don't miss out. Who's getting upset? Who's going all the way? Play right along with them at Hard Rock Bet or download the app. Super easy to play and win on the Hard Rock Bet app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
ET here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find Scratch Kitchen that always comes in the clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more. Come on, somebody.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Buying a diamond, wedding band, or piece of fashion jewelry in Jacksonville? You have 2 choices. You can go to locally owned Beard's Diamonds, or you can go to one of those mega national chain jewelry stores. The national chains are pretty much all the same. In fact, did you know that some of them are owned by the same conglomerate? Yes, the same Wall Street company owns all the big names. So if you're looking for extreme value with genuine personal attention, come experience the Beard's Diamond difference. At Beard's, our diamonds come straight from the source. We hand select each one for maximum brilliance millions. We don't have to apply corporate markups and tack on salespeople commissions, so we beat the chains on price every single day. Beards has the strongest warranties, not gotcha clauses in fine print. Beards has all the top designers, including Topical and Viraggio. Beards doesn't have out-of-state regional managers calling about sales quotas. We are all local, family-owned with total freedom to do what's right for our customers. Beards Diamonds, all the selection, quality, value, and service you want from local people, accountable only to you. Beards in the St. John's Town Center.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 26, 1973, at the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, UCLA beats Memphis for the Bruins' 7th straight title. Bruins' Bill Walton is named the tournament's most outstanding player.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, a little bit of baseball on the eve of the Major League Baseball season. You see Cam Smith made the Houston Astros. Pretty cool deal by Joe Espada, the manager. Actually brought his family in for the announcement. And Smith, who of course played at Florida State, broke down in tears. He was the top prospect involved in the Kyler Tucker trade between Houston and Chicago. And he has made the ball club, but that was pretty cool. If you got an opportunity. Did you see that? It went viral. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see it, Dylan.
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. We usually see things like this when they give a walk-on a scholarship. There's been some pretty historic ones with that over the years, but not when it comes to making a Major League Baseball roster. But that did take place, and so that was pretty cool. And, Alex Lodi's was pretty cool, the local kid who was at UNF and played at Bartram Trail, hit the walk-off cycle grand slam last night, 8-4 FSU. That was that was pretty cool. Thank you to John Nagowski. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't do a lot of books, but I mean, this one is just filled with information, you know, historically speaking. And I've always been a big fan of, you know, when do you get big hits? There's something about hitting a home run when it's the first inning. There's something about hitting a home run in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. There's something about hitting a home run up 9-1 or down 9-1. There's something about hitting a 2-run homer when you're down 3-2, like what Lodi's did last night with the game tied at 4. It's hard to look at those numbers. It's hard to research those numbers. I think as great baseball fans, I was born and raised with average home runs, RBIs. Then you'd look at slugging percentage. I always looked at runs scored, right? That's the most important thing. Today, we've brought in the sabermetrics. We've brought in the new math of the OPS and certainly WAR. And newer baseball fans don't even look at RBIs the way that we once did. It's crazy, but I mean, this book is just so thorough. And Duke Schneider hit 19 home runs off of Robert Roberts. Wow. I didn't know that late in the career, Dizzy Dean actually had an opportunity to face Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth, you know, wrapped up his career in Boston, playing for the Boston Braves. Some of you may not be aware of that. You're all aware that Babe Ruth was traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees, but he actually wrapped things up with the Boston Braves right across the street from the Charles River. That's where I believe BU plays there, Boston University. So some pretty good stuff. We are going to get ready to bring in our friend John Nagowski. Gary Danielson's called it a career. He's going to retire after this year. He's got one left, and that'll be it for him. You know, the him and Nessler combination, I don't think is viewed as much anymore since CBS has obviously lost the Southeastern Conference. But Charles Davis is going to get the gig. So that'll be a good one for Charles. J.J. Watt has been promoted as well to the number 2 gig at CBS with Iron Eagle. So Watt is leaving the studio show with James Brown and company. He had been a studio analyst, so a couple of changes in today at CBS. Reportedly, I guess Charles Davis is just going to sit out a year or do research on college football, which is kind of bizarre considering how much college football changes now with the transfer portal. But unless I read that incorrectly, it feels like Charles Davis is the man in a year, but will not work this year in the NFL. Maybe he'll do some studio work on CBS college football related. We will have to see. All right, let's get ready to bring in our buddy John Oehser. Again, I want to show you the book. If you know, you can get it anywhere. I got it up here that you can see on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or any of those, Facebook. Diamond Duels, Baseball's Greatest Matchups by John Nagowski, a really good author, and I absolutely love this book. I think you'll enjoy it as well. John Oehser is coming up on the other side. The latest on the Jaguars as we continue right here on Into the Night.
They came together as a team.
Joe Coward.
Are you like me?
Matt Hayes.
Let's keep this between us.
And Leon Searcy.
Bring it in.
XL Prime Time.
Call for one for all. Yeah!
2 to 4 weekdays on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
It's a new year with new goals, but let's face it, not all resolutions are easy to keep. Maybe you promised yourself you'd eat healthier, but pizza still seems like a better idea. Or you said you'd read more, but your favorite show just launched a new season. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, we can help you keep your New Year's resolution. We offer the biggest selection, best prices, and the easiest car buying experience. Let's make a resolution to visit Beaver Toyota or Beaver Chevrolet, where we'll wow you with a new ride for the new year.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
ET here, and spring in Clay County means one thing: the award-winning Clay County Fair. It's more than just rides and a concert, it's an experience. Savor the flavors of classic fair treats, explore family-friendly attractions, and enjoy a perfect mix of small-town charm and big-time fun. Plan your trip with Explore Clay County Tourism and turn your visit into a getaway. Find the best places to stay, eat, and explore at exploreclay.com. And don't forget to share your fair adventures with #ExploreClay.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary vocalist Jeff Tate. Known for his iconic work with Queensryche, Jeff Tate brings his unforgettable sound to the Florida Theater for one night only. A round-trip journey in your head. Witness the hit album Operation Mindcrime, performed in its entirety for the final time. Jeff Tate, Operation Mindcrime, April 3rd at Florida Theater. Tickets at floridatheater.com.
Hey folks, Ticket here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts, sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Hey, a lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Hey, this is Coach Jason Gibson of your Jacksonville Sharks. I know the importance of a strong game plan, and that's exactly what I've got with Clay Solar Installation Partners. They did the install of the solar panels at my house, and I couldn't be happier. Lower energy bills, clean power, and a winning team that made the whole process easy. If you're looking to save money and go solar, trust the pros at Clay Solar. Call Karen at Clay Solar today and tell them that Coach Gibson sent you.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's time for Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Oh No's. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Served up by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
John Oehser, ladies and gentlemen, senior writer, Jaguars.com. Each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, he joins Rick Ballou. Hello, John.
Rick, how you doing? Not a lot new from last week, Rick. Not a lot going on.
Yeah, there's always plenty going on.
Sure.
10 new free agents, 10 draft picks, more of a wave of fresh faces that'll be here. Something that has been talked about since we had our last conversation. Jacksonville's the only team in the NFL out of the 32 who hasn't re-signed one of their unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw that as well, and I guess that's not a huge shock considering they had, locked up Tyson. They did some locking up under the old regime of, who you would think of as the right guys.
Right.
And I don't know who they necessarily would have said they wanted back. I'm not sure the old regime would have wanted Andre Cisco back. Certainly the new regime felt like it was time to move on from that. Beyond that, it wasn't a terribly high-profile group, I don't think. So I guess it's not really surprising considering you're trying to overturn it. Some of the spots like a Luke Farrell, for example, probably the old regime brings him back because he fit, but the new, both tight ends were brought in with some familiarity with the new offense. So I think it all sort of made sense more than it was any sort of a statement.
Is it a combination of the bottom of the roster absolutely needed to be improved, and also maybe with some of these players there was the comfortability of losing a game or many games by one possession, and they just want to take that cloud and remove it from this football team?
Yeah, I'm not so sure it was about like wanting specific things gone as much as, I think they wanted to bring in, guys like Long and for example, quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They could have brought back Mac Jones or Beth, are both free agents. They didn't really know this system. So if you're trying to bring in a new identity and a new feel, those were easy contracts not to renew. Like, I never got the idea, maybe Cisco, because there were some mistakes last year, that you heard, okay, we have to move on from him, sort of a specific, thought. But beyond that, there really wasn't anybody that I think they really wanted back that much, to where I think it was really just more they targeted certain guys that they wanted, and those guys weren't really the guys who were here before. I don't think there was very much vehemence about it. It was just, we're moving in these different directions. We want guys we want more than not wanting the old guys, right?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, no doubt. Trayvon Walker, the team has now about a month to announce that they will pick up his fifth-year team-only option that is available for first-round picks. We all assume that is going to take place, but then there's
it will.
Then there's 2 years, right? I mean,
right.
When do you get him done? And I don't want to compare him to Max Crosby and compare him to Myles Garrett, but they just got phenomenal money. I don't know. Maybe you can look at Josh Sweat's deal. Every day you wait, he's going to get paid more if he keeps playing well. What do you think the timetable is with Trayvon Walker?
I'm not sure the timetable. I know they like him. I know they consider him, along with Josh Allen, the leader of the defense, one of their guys. I think it's just more they don't have to get it done immediately.
Right.
And I think, maybe it might be a little bit like the Josh Allen situation 2 years ago, where, the team's not quite sure what the market will be. The player, Trayvon, may not want to necessarily re-sign ASAP and say, hey, if I get 14 this year, my market's different. Or if I have a huge year, my market's different. So sometimes that becomes a case where both sides are like, let's just let this play out. I don't necessarily think this regime will have the, hey, we can't re-sign a guy in the regular season. We're not going to talk about that. So I think you could do it anytime. I don't sense a hurry this off season, but I also I get no sense that they won't go get Trayvon done when they feel like the time is right. I guess I'm putting it this way: if they don't get Trayvon re-signed this off season, it should not be taken at all like they don't like Trayvon.
Mm-hmm.
They like Trayvon a lot, but they're also often, when there's a regime change, you'll often see them not do a contract like this ASAP because there's a thought of, hey, let's just tell the agent, let's tell the player, let's get figured out going forward what all this is, and then re-sign this guy who is still going to be a core player when everybody knows, yeah, we can't live without this guy.
John Oehser is our guest. Joins us here each and every Wednesday night. Get everything from John. Just go to Jaguars.com, where, of course, he is the senior writer. Mason Graham remains the favorite if you were to look at mocks and listen to the Jaguar fans at number 5. But we've seen this recent wave of Travis Hunter. What are your thoughts on a guy who could be a corner, wide receiver, or perhaps both, depending on who you listen to?
Well, I think Mason Graham's going to remain the choice du jour, if you will, because it just feels like that's always going to be a sweet spot. People look at it. He's a need. He's a good player. I don't think they'll pass on Travis Hunter if he's there. That's just my gut. I think they want to build the line. They really feel very focused on building the lines around here. And yet when you get into the draft, if there are, quote unquote, special above the X's and O's guys available, they're hard to pass on.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would tell you there's two. There's Abdul Carter and there's Travis Hunter. I think it would be very hard for the Jaguars to pass on Travis Hunter at 5 if he's there.
Right.
I don't think they think he will be. I think most people think he won't be. But if he's there, it's a tough thing to pass on because you're talking about special. You're talking about guys who put points on the board. If he's on offense, even if he's playing defense, you feel like he's a guy who can get you touchdowns if he's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be tough to pass on.
You know, you were in the combine, and it was kind of a mixed bag there. I was under the assumption it was defense way ahead of offense. I keep hearing the opposite, including early guests I've had on this week. Mark Ross spent 11 years in the front office in the NFL, both in New York and in Philly. He said offense. But just give us your understanding. If it was Hunter, what side of the ball does he primarily play?
Yeah, my guess is it would be – I feel like corner, but if other people are saying more, then I've got to say that they probably know more about Travis Hunter skill set and wishes. Yeah, so for me to guess would be, I guess, pretending to have information I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky Brooks, I think, said it best when he was on our podcast today. Let the kid figure out what he wants to do, what he thinks he's best at, and maybe go from there. Considering it's so close, maybe that makes sense. Bucky did say something interesting because he's close with Dion. People close to Travis Hunter say that if he had his choice, he goes offense.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky's quote was, he's walking over to that offensive room if it's an escape room situation.
Right.
So,
right.
Maybe that sways you a little bit, that if his heart is mostly into that, he's special enough to let him go that direction. But that's me just piggybacking off Bucky's analysis. I can't give you much on that one alone.
Well, it pays more. It's like tackle to guard.
Yeah.
I mean, corners get paid, but look at the wide receiver contracts that.
In this day and age, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's wrap with the tackle guard. Will Campbell had his workout today at LSU. His arms grew. He went from 32 5/8 to 33 inches. The former regime would really have an issue with that. You and I have had this conversation a couple of times, trying to understand what James Gladstone is going to be about. It feels like maybe more of trust in the film, trust in what they've done in their career outside of the measurements. I started the show by saying I would not be shocked if they took an offensive lineman, in this case, Will Campbell at number 5.
It wouldn't shock me. I don't know if it has to be Will Campbell. I will tell you this: from listening at the combine, the Rams aren't necessarily an all measurable all the time team. And Gladstone told somebody, and I was there, and I forget where it was, but he said, look at the history, and you know how I feel about that.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing that, but that was the gist I got. I think he's going to value production. He's going to value a guy who loves the ball. All those things they're talking about. I don't think a half of an inch on the arm's length is going to sway him if they love a player.
Well.
So that's, again, every GM has things, tangibles they won't go below on position. There's GMs that do not believe that a guy who runs a 4.5 can play corner or whatever that number is. So they all have that thing, but I think you're going to see Gladstone bend a lot more toward let the film take me where I need to go.
Yeah, I hope so, and maybe we'll get into this next week, John. But I've had, I have a nightly draft analyst on, and I've heard 6 first-round grades. I've heard 13 first-round grades. I had a guy on last night who said that this is one of the most unusual drafts that he can remember, that a lot of scouts do not believe that there's a dramatic difference between 20 and 80.
Yeah.
60 players.
Yeah. A lot of depth and a lot of, and that's sort of the thought of, if Travis Hunter's there and he's special, there's only so much special available this year.
Yeah.
And now there are people who think Graham's that guy. Nobody thinks you can go wrong with Graham. And there are people who believe in the first round, do not strike out, always hit doubles. Graham is a pretty sure double in that sense. Nobody thinks he's going to strike out.
Yeah. John, always a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right, Rick. Thank you, buddy.
There he goes. John Oehser. Great stuff. Senior writer, Jaguars.com. I love that opinion that we got into last night with Destin Adams with A-to-Z Sports, that there's not a big difference between prospects 20 and 80. Just think about what those war rooms are going to be like. That opens up the possibility of huge trades. I mean, what if you're Jacksonville at 36 and there's a team at 60 that's like, we have to move up to number 36 to get this guy. You can't believe he's still available. I just think that what it's going to provide is such a wide range of late first round and then, second and into the third round draft selections, where you're going to have Team X make a pick, and, across the country, you're going to have other teams being like, what did they just do? We don't have a grade anywhere near where that came in. And I'm sure that this is fairly common anyway. If you go back and you look at mock drafts and then you go and compare them to actually what did take place, teams look at them because they're there, but they trust their own board. They trust their own work, which they've put together. But I just think this year, and it's 4 weeks from tomorrow night. I mean, we're 29 days away from the NFL draft, first round anyway. It's going to be a blast to watch this because, the trust now is in James Gladstone. And, the information that has been compiled by the Jaguars obviously comes into play here, right? But what knowledge did he bring with him from Los Angeles that he is now adding to this? This is what makes it so not unusual. It happens all the time when a team does fire a general manager, but we're experiencing this once again where, Trent Baalke was promoted from within. That was all his stuff. Dave Caldwell came from Atlanta where he was bringing Atlanta stuff with him. And to me, I find this part of it, maybe the most fascinating part of all. And it's going to be pretty cool, not only with the top pick, but I think the deeper we get into this draft, It's going to be a very interesting year. You know, Ethan Waugh, his opinion in this draft has to be considered mightily. Obviously, it's not the final decision, but we keep saying Gladstone, Cohen, and Baselli's never done this before, right? Certainly you want Tony Baselli's opinion on offensive linemen. He's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. I don't know if Tony Baselli's opinion on a wide receiver or defensive back right now should be anywhere near that of James Gladstone, who's put in 9 years' worth of work and knows what to look for. I'm not saying Tony doesn't know the game. He does. But he's never been a decision maker. You just don't become that in year one. I have to believe Ethan Waugh and all of the scouts under Trent Baalke have a huge say with their information on what the Jags will do the deeper you get into the draft. Let's take a break. Why don't we do that? Come back, get you involved with the program. If you'd like to join us, you can. 641-1010 on the text line. Brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. You can get us on YouTube. Just go to 1010XL into the night. You can get me on Twitter. That is Ballou1010XL.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
It's the Sweet 16 with first seed Florida and fourth seeded Maryland. Tomorrow night at 7:30 on 1010 AM.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, World Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of. And you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 26, 1973, at the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, UCLA beats Memphis for the Bruins' 7th straight title. Bruins' Bill Walton is named the tournament's most outstanding player.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or matt-jacksonville.com.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape. And you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and there's so many cool products that are on the line at Cycles of Jacksonville. The showroom is Atlantic and Regency, and we're talking, Greg, you've got from any level of price point, the experienced rider to the inexperienced on-road, off-road.
We've got it. We've got ATVs, we've got motorcycles, we've got scooters, we even have the new Honda boats. We've got something for everyone.
Don't forget about the boat line from Honda. It's all right there, waiting for you. Atlantic and Regency or Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Evan on YouTube said a great interview on memories of a World War II from an Indianapolis survivor. So I don't know if he's talking about a book somewhere or something that was said. I know I mentioned it earlier in the program. I just read a book on that. Maybe he was referencing that particular book. The man who wrote it was not a survivor, because there's no way, right? That happened in 1945, so we're talking 80 years ago. And even if you were young, 18, 19, 20, I mean, the chances of you being with us, I got to believe, are slim to none. But anyway, little confused by that. Maybe you can help us out and bounce back. But my God, I can't think of anything more terrifying, and I mean that. I mean, the Titanic would have been brutal, right? But it was just so cold that, you kind of succumb to it. Not in these waters, not when the Indianapolis went down. And I guess 330 survived out of the nearly 1,000. 316 survived. And they said more than 100 were ripped apart by sharks. That to me is just the most petrifying thing that I can think of. I'm sure you can maybe come up with some others that would be there. Do you watch David Blaine? You know who he is?
Oh yeah, Magic Guy.
He's got a new special that's out. I watched a couple episodes last night.
Yeah,
you see it?
What channel was it on? But I saw the preview for it, but I didn't watch it yet.
Kissing Cobras and stuff.
Yep, that's what it was.
I think it was the National Geographic channel. And he goes over to like Thailand. He goes, to Brazil, and some of the magic tricks that they do are just beyond belief. I've always been very interested in that. But there you go. I mean, I just can't think of anything worse. when that Japanese torpedo sank the USS Indianapolis. And the only reason why I mentioned that is I just finished that book about a month ago. Said I haven't read a lot of sports books recently. It's because I've read hundreds of them. And, I hate to say it this way, but it's really kind of the truth. There's not enough modern-day players or recently retired players that I'm interested in like I was when I was growing up. Those who played before I was alive, during when I was alive. I'd rather read a book on Pete Rose or Mickey Mantle or Hank Aaron than anyone who's played today. And I think that's because just the way my mind works, that I just don't believe that today's players respect yesterday's players. And that's awful. I'll never get that. They have paved the way for them to make so much money. Very average to below average players make phenomenal money, life-changing retirement money when their days are done. But you just don't see the respect that I think that these players have earned, that these players deserve. Just my opinion on it. The NFL Competition Committee, by the way, they're going to meet later this week. And, this is always somewhat aggravating to me because it just feels like the NFL owners, the most important thing to them is to make more money, right? Instead of let's do what's right for the game. The competition committee and the NFL owners, rule changes should do what? Reek of common sense. That's it. Now, they're talking now about moving up the touchback from the 30 to the 35, and the initial reaction is, well, why will people, why would they do that? More people are, they're just going to accept touchbacks and move it up 5 yards. Well, that's going to change, hopefully, the way that kickoffs are approached in the NFL, where instead you're going to try to land the ball within the 5-yard line or 10-yard line to force a return. That is going to be the hope there. And, the whole conversation about waiting for a fair catch or whatever, that has to be discussed. You just can't move it up 5 yards. I mean, starting at the 35-yard line, in my opinion, you should be starting at the 20, okay? How much offense do you need? You're now going to say with a touchback, 1st and 10 from the 35, for crying out loud, you pick up a first down, you're at midfield. No. And it just, again, use common sense. It's okay to have defense. It's okay to have to be special to put something together offensively. To me, going 80 yards for a touchdown is it. Or 75 yards. You're talking 65 yards. You pick up 2 first downs, you're in field goal range for some of these guys. But that's all they look at. Offense, 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 offense. So, they have that. Apparently now you're going to be allowed to kick an onside kick at any time. You need to declare it. You just can't do it under the new the new kick rule is really stupid. Okay, it dumbed down the game. It's like adding a 4-point shot in the NBA. It'd be adding like a 2-point goal in the National Hockey League. The NFL doesn't need to tinker. The NFL doesn't need to go outside of the box. It is so popular. And when you use the excuse that you are trying to eliminate concussions and eliminate injuries, no one buys it when you keep adding games. You've already gone from 16 to 17, and before you know it, you're going to have 18. And all of you love it, and I get it. We have an extra wild card game in each conference now. We used to have 2 buys, only 1 bye. More football. Fans love it. But don't throw in, we care. We don't want to see him get injured. You don't care. You care about money. And you care about offense. And offense equals money. The kickoff rule is What are your thoughts on it? You like it? Dislike it?
I hate the way they keep tinkering with it. I feel like they should just get rid of it. I mean, if you're not going to do it the way it always was before they tinkered with it, I feel like you just put the ball at the 25 and just run with it from there.
So the NFL has gone from this will eliminate kick returns with these new rules because we're worried about concussions to a year later, let's move up the touchback from the 30 to the 35, therefore to have the kicking game change their approach, which will force more returns. They have absolutely contradicted themselves in 1 year. That's all it took. If they pass this rule, we are going to see more kick returns, which is a great thing. The opening kickoff should be the most exciting play in football. And I know you'll say, a third down, depending on down and distance, is always, imposing and going for it on fourth down. But, I say this all the time. You take the field. And it doesn't matter where you are. Everyone is standing. It is the opening kickoff. You've just run out of the tunnel. Everyone is amped on both sides. And they're all, what? Waiting for the opening kickoff. And it's a touchback. Yeah, look at the beginning of the Super Bowl. Everyone's got the camera. Back in the day with the flash bulbs, they go off everywhere. It's the opening kickoff. It's the most, it is the ultimate. It is the climax. It is it. And all of a sudden, now it's touchback. Let's take it out, 1st and 10. And 3/4 of the fans sit down. And so they're going to try to change that this year. But again, they're doing it by trying to sneak it under the rug. We'll just have this come on in and this will get some play, but I guarantee you it doesn't get the play of the tush push and some of these other things. They're going to expand the scope of the replay official. Apparently, they're getting rid of the chain gang as far as them being used initially. They'll still be there on the sideline as a backup, but they're no longer going to bring out the chains. See, that's common sense. That's speeding up the game. You can see it from a bar. You can have 18 Pabst Blue Ribbons in you, and you can see that line on your television screen, and you can see it from the lazy boy or the bar. You know if it's a first down or you know if it's short of a first down. Why doesn't the NFL just use that technology? And apparently they are. But why is it taking so long? So very interesting. I like the owners' meetings, but, man, it just feels like I know wealth doesn't equal genius. In a lot of aspects, it does. But a lot of times with these meetings, despite mammoth wealth, it's really filled with ignorance. It's unbelievable how they miss on common sense. That's all we're asking. You and I can do it. You and I can sit down 4, 6, 8, 12, in common sense, talk about what needs to be fixed in this league. We still don't know what a catch is. We still don't know, especially did you juggle the ball? You got both feet down. Did you have possession of the ball? Did the ground affect the ball? We still cannot figure this out. And to me, that's the most aggravating part of it.
You seen who's going to be at the NFL owners meetings?
No.
Popular athlete, Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah. They're trying to discuss on women's sports and the league's aspirations around flag football. So you can add that to your repertoire for things that are going to be happening next week.
Flag football?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just bad. I mean, stop talking about playing games in Brazil, in London, in Germany, and Roger Goodell telling us that there's going to be a Super Bowl there. No. Don't do what Major League Baseball did. Don't open up your season in Tokyo. Okay? Baseball opens tomorrow, and so many people don't even care anymore. Why would the NFL do that? Oh, Here's the reason why, Ballou. More money. It's awful. And it costs you, what, $20 a beer? You know, I mean, it's become unhinged. Every sport. And I get it. You know, the owners make so much money. The players make so much money. If you want to be a consumer, if you want to be a fan, you're going to have to pay the going rate. I would never tell a Jaguar fan not to go. Never. No way. That I would never tell a college football fan never to go. But, I mean, good luck getting, if you got a family of 5 season tickets and paying that rate. If you do it up with cocktails and everything else, I mean, what is that going to cost you? $1,500 a Sunday? And listen, I could care less. I'll spend any amount of money for entertainment. I spent $1,800 on 2 U2 seats last year. $1,830 it was. I spent $400 for Foreigner, which had one original band member a week ago in the pit at the St. Aug Amp. I have no problem spending money for entertainment. None. But some of it is ridiculous. Isn't it Arthur Blank the only one who still sells like $5 hot dogs in Atlanta?
$2 drinks, $2 hot dogs, $3 burgers. Yeah.
These owners need that revenue stream. They're going to charge you whatever it is. You know, I'd love to see something like that discussed at the owners' meetings. Why not give back in some aspect? They would laugh you right out of the room. Can you imagine these owners agreeing to selling $5 hot? No way. They would never do it. Only one owner does it. Duke has moved ahead of Florida as far as the odds to win the national title. Duke 2-1 odds. That is the latest. Florida 4-1. It's then Houston 5-1. Auburn 6-1. Their next opponent is Maryland. They are at number 9. That is 25-1. Is Maryland. And, of course, they will take on Florida tomorrow night. We're getting ready to bring in our good buddy Rafael Esparza right here on the other side. And we'll spend the majority of our conversation talking about this. Florida remains a 6.5-point favorite. Your total's 157.5. They'll tip off tomorrow night at 7:39 in San Francisco. So a 4-seed Maryland, the top seed is the Florida Gators. Let's do that when we visit with our good buddy, Rafael Esparza.
It was April 2nd, 2007.
Stand by to go live.
0600.
3.
When the world first heard.
2, 1.
1010XL.
Execute.
Jacksonville Sports Radio. This 1010XL March moment is brought to you by Garber Auto Mall. We can wiggle it.
No timeouts left. What are they doing? R.J. Hunter for 3. Ron Hunter has fallen off his stool for good reason.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law.
your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
From the driving range to the 18th green, it's Brunch with the Tour.
Well done.
You've got to be kidding.
Tour news, tips, and inside info brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Oh, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
Lives? At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone. Any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true, and after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase now through March.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of classic rock with legendary vocalist Jeff Tate. Known for his iconic work with Queensryche, Jeff Tate brings his unforgettable sound to the Florida Theater for one night only.
Round-trip journey in your head.
Witness the hit album Operation Mindcrime, performed in its entirety for the final time. Jeff Tate, Operation Mindcrime, April 3rd at Florida Theater. Tickets at floridatheater.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
E.T. here, and spring in Clay County means one thing: the award-winning Clay County Fair. It's more than just rides and a concert, it's an experience. Savor the flavors of classic fair treats, explore family-friendly attractions, and enjoy a perfect mix of small-town charm and big-time fun. Plan your trip with Explore Clay County Tourism and turn your visit into a getaway. Find the best places to stay, eat, and explore at exploreclay.com. And don't forget to share your fair adventures with #ExploreClay.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Well, we're going to go back to last night. Alex Lodice, the Grand Slam, the cycle, all in one night, all in one at bat. Had a triple-double and single before the ninth inning home run. Florida State a winner 8-4. He played at Bartram Trail from St. Augustine, spent a year at UNF, but hit a monster bomb last night. So, cool story there with Alex Lodice. Now, Will Campbell, his arms grew. That is a major story. Could go number 5 to Jacksonville. Absolutely he could. At his LSU Pro Day today, the 32 and 5 inch, or make that 32 and 5/8 that he measured at the Combine in Indianapolis, increased today to 33 inches. And he was pretty vocal about it as well. I like Will Campbell. He's got some nasty. But with the draft 4 weeks from tomorrow night, do not dismiss Will Campbell as a possibility for the Jags at number 5.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
All right, we are on the cusp of the Sweet 16. Maryland and Florida will tip off in exactly 24 hours. Let's bring in our buddy Rafael Esparza. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Back-to-back times I jump on air, you're talking about the NFL draft. It's Sweet 16. Baseball's first pitch tomorrow.
It was a segue, and I had a baseball guest on earlier. We covered that. You need to start plugging in and listening to this show top to bottom, for crying out loud. Where's the money going? Maryland and Florida, is it still around 6.5?
It's still around 6.5. A lot of Maryland buyback came in this afternoon. I mean, right now everyone's just playing Duke. We would not be shocked if we see 10.5 by tomorrow. Duke money continues to flood in. I kind of like Florida in this spot. I think they got their scare, and I think they're going to bounce back and play much better. But if you're looking for teams, I mean, maybe that the playbook is out on Florida on how to keep them handled and stuff. So it's going to be very interesting, but I do like Florida tomorrow.
All right, chalk has come in when it comes to the selections, and I know that because I did have some upsets, but I have 13 of 16 teams remaining. Florida, for example, has not covered in either one of their first 2 games. So overall, how have things been at the window on the eve of the Sweet 16?
Has not been kind. Luckily, the rest of the college basketball season was good for us, but so far the tournament has not been kind. So the NIT has been really good for us in the CBI, but March Madness, because a lot of favorites come in, except for Florida. They're the only number 1 team that has not covered a game yet in the tournament. So it's going to be very interesting, but as long as we can have a nice Sweet 16, grade 8, and Final Four, hopefully we'll get some of that money back. But the public beat us pretty badly the first 4 days. 1
double-digit seed, that's Arkansas. They've had 2 huge wins where they were dogs. Where's the money on that game tomorrow night against Texas Tech?
I can't believe people are still calling them a Cinderella story. Really, they got a whole bunch of NIL players and people who are All-Americans. It just went from Duquesne, Kentucky to Arkansas. But Arkansas money continues to come in. But if they can't hit the 3-point shot like they did their other game, then I think they get blown out. They need to hit the 3-point shot for the rest of the tournament.
All right, overall to win it, I know that before it began, some services had Florida number 1, Duke number 2. I've seen that change somewhat. Is most of the money going on Duke?
Yeah, most of the money is all on Duke because they look pretty impressive. Houston looks impressive, but it's just them 2 coming in. I would say the most bet team right now is for win it all is Duke, then Houston, and then Florida. But don't sleep on that. We do not want BYU to win. I think a lot of money came after they beat Wisconsin. This BYU team can be very surprising over the weekend, especially if Igor can go off and continue playing well basketball.
All right, we'll get to Major League Baseball next week. Since they screwed that up with a couple of games in Tokyo, we can dismiss it 1 week because I want to wrap with what I think is the game of the 16 that'll play over the next 2 nights. That is in the SEC. How have things looked with Kentucky and Tennessee?
It's really about who you think is going to win the pace of play. If you think it's going to be a defensive battle, then Tennessee and under money continues to come in. But we're also getting Kentucky winning 3 straight against Tennessee. So Kentucky and over money is coming in. So we're getting really good 2-way action. Hate to say this, I'm just happy that an SEC team will lose that one because I have -120 on the field versus the SEC to win it all.
Oh, really? All right, what? 7 of the 16 left are SEC.
Yes. Well, one of them gets knocked out because they have to play each other.
Well, you're right. So we can get to 6 right there. No doubt about it. Raphael, always a pleasure, young man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yep, that's Friday night. Mississippi as well will take on Michigan State, Michigan, and Auburn. So that's 4 SEC teams playing on Friday night. Of course, the Gators tomorrow night against Maryland. Bama's the first game against BYU. And that leaves us with Arkansas. So 7 SEC teams. Remember, the tournament began, they set a record with 14 who made it into the field of 64. And now you have 7 remaining.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Service by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like Letterman or something. It feels like a Paul Schaefer jingle. I'm a big fan of that.
Something you'd hear in a diner, right?
I mean, to me, it's just on. It sounds like, I don't know, 50s or 60s, back when men all opened doors for women and were polite and called them ma'am.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
When did that whole change where instead of calling them ma'am, they call them well, you know what? You need the street cred, but I love it. Anyway, what's going on? How are you tonight?
Yeah, 24 hours away, getting fired up for Florida and Maryland. I did some research, Rick. That's what I do leading into Hacker After Dark. Let me ask you what these 8 teams have in common. You'll probably figure it out, but just humor me. Villanova, Kansas, Indiana, Duke, North Carolina, UConn, Kentucky, and UCLA.
They've all won natties.
They've all won 3 or more.
Okay.
Florida could become the 9th. Only 8 teams have won 3 national titles or more in NCAA basketball on the men's side. Florida could become number 9 with 4 more victories.
Now, is this recent history? You can't go back to the days of like when Penn and Harvard and all of them won it. They can do that in football as well.
That's a good question. This goes back to this goes back to Oklahoma State in 1945.
Okay.
So we're going back quite a ways here.
Uh-huh.
You're talking, what is that, 80 years?
Only 8?
Only 8 have won 3 or more. Three's a lot.
Yeah, give it to me again. So Kentucky, Duke, UNC.
UCLA has 11.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky has 8. UConn 6. North Carolina 6. Duke and Indiana 5. Kansas 4. And Villanova 3.
Villanova won their first in 84, but boy, you look at Connecticut and Florida. That's Johnny come lately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, UConn, I grew up there. I right outside of Connecticut. I grew up in Boston, and they won them all with Coach Calhoun and, of course, with Danny Hurley. And, of course, Florida won their first in, 06?
05, 06.
Yeah. And that's, people forget the last teams to win a national title in football for the first time was Florida State and Florida in 93 and 96, respectively. But, you talk about some old-school blue bloods outside of, what Florida and UConn have done over the last, let's call it 30-plus years.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. I think Florida has a great opportunity to win tomorrow. The thing about Maryland, which is wild, their starting 5 is really good. They have nothing off the bench. They literally rank in the 300s of Division I college basketball in bench production. They scored 72 against Colorado State to win at the buzzer on Sunday. Their starters had 70 of the 72. So if you can get those guys into foul trouble, run them up and down the court, Florida plays 9 strong, that's got to benefit the Gators, you would think.
No doubt. All right, what else is coming up tonight?
One of my favorite new podcasts that I've discovered is the Southeastern 16. It's all about the SEC. Blake Lavelle is the host of that, and we're going to have Blake coming up here in about 20 minutes or so to obviously talk about the 7 teams left in the Southeastern Conference. Also, Ian Valentino of the 33rd team and A to Z Sports. He just did a 7-round mock draft. I really like what he had for the Jaguars. We'll talk with Ian about 9 o'clock tonight.
All right. Have a great night.
Thanks, Rick.
That's going to do it. Thank you to John Oehser. Thank you to Rafael Esparza. Thank you to John Nagowski, the author who just came out with this book. I want to show it to you one more time for those of you watching us on video. It's a sensational read. Diamond Duels, baseball's greatest matchups. And the information on this, historically speaking, is absolutely sensational. I hope you enjoyed that interview. But on the eve of Major League Baseball, It'd be a great book to pick up. Diamond Duels, Baseball's Greatest Matchups. Available all over the place. Just Google it, and it's at bookstores as well. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou. We'll do it again tomorrow at 6 o'clock right here on your home of the Jags.
No, 1010XL takes you inside the